Peace, peace, peace. Hey, peace, live and learn. I didn't know if anybody's gonna come in here because I know that they're having the Super Bowl or something like that. Peace to everyone entering the room right now. This will not be a long one. This one's actually to share a video that I'm gonna put up on my um in the videos section because I got to go to work. So I don't have much time. But the title here is "When History Touches You from a Distance." And so, as y'all can tell up here, hey, Peace Fundi, as you can tell, there's not a lot going on YouTube right now because more than likely people are watching the game. Chief Supreme Holiday had some event going on with that. And the people that I'm going to put up right now also were trying to get out of this event so that they can go and watch the game as well. But I'm still subscribed to the church that I used to attend in Victorville, California. And as I was scrolling and I was like, well, nothing else is going on. And I accidentally ended uh, Smoke Streams. I fell out of Smoke Signals stream. And because it was so long, I couldn't get back in it because I was just listening to stuff that happened last night. Um, I went on and looked at the church that I used to attend, which is up here on YouTube. And you'll see it. It'll be in the upper left-hand corner for Victorville, California. But they had a lady up for Black History Month and her name was Elder Anna Munn. Shout out to the people, at least one person that I know whose last name is Munn. Shout out to the Munn family. Okay. But I'm listening to this young lady, and I say young, she is my elder, but I'm listening to this lady's story, and it touched me. It touched me because when she started to talk about a particular Air Force base in California and what year that was, I was in that same area. I had only been in the area for about 5 or 6 years at the time. So I'm reminiscing, and we went to the same church. And then when she mentions the schools that she taught at in California, two of the three schools that she went to, my children went to. My youngest daughter, as well as my other daughters, but my youngest daughter and my son, I'm sorry, but my youngest daughter and I were just talking about uh, some things that she had to go through at that school when she went, being one of the younger ones. But it looks like Mrs. Munn was actually at Victorville High after that, and that's the school that my son went to, and then also my youngest daughter went to that school as well, which was right behind our house. We actually um, bordered that school, Victorville High School, the Jackrabbits. And so there were some things that Mrs. Munn said that I didn't know, and there were some things that my daughter said about Hook Junior High that I didn't know. Because as parents, we really don't. We're not involved a lot of times like that. Um, she mentioned George Air Force Base, which it made me think. You know what? When I get back up there, I might just travel through that area and show you what the houses look like now, because it didn't look like that back in the day. Back when Janet Jackson was doing her In Control video, I went to the NCO club over there. We used to go over there and dance and all of that stuff. And it wasn't like that when the military was thriving. And one of my first jobs in Victorville was actually on George Air Force Base with a trucking company not affiliated. And my son's second job was also at the Air Force, at the airplane. Um, at the airport that they put up there, where he sanded and painted planes and became a supervisor before going into the military. But I was listening to Mrs. Munn, Elder Munn's story, and where she came from out of Alabama. She mentions Alabama. I think she mentioned South Carolina. There was some stuff mentioned about Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. And then her military, what actually caught me was her traveling with her husband after they got married, going to Germany where she became a teacher. She had already taught three places here, but she went over there and she was able to teach among 5,000 teachers. Um, I guess 50 in her the place where she was at, and then having to come back here and not actually given a position, but then eventually given a position because of her credentials and um, changing a few things in the Victorville school system, if you would. And you guys will hear this story on the video. But this information, I was just looking at how synchronicity goes because many of you know that I've been dealing with the universities, private, public, historically black, what our first universities were taken, how they were taken over, what they were teaching, just different things. And for this subject to pop up, it was just like this this synchronicity is so crazy because I don't talk to the people at my church, but it does seem like excuse me for saying it this way. I can say, okay, I say it the right way, one way. It seems like we're going along the same path. On the other side, I can say, look at God. They're just keeping us, I don't know how this shit is working, but a lot of times what I talk to has some remnants, um, some reflection on what they're talking about, even though we're not in communication with one another. So I'm listening to this story, and she mentions this thing about her credentials. And so at this point, I just want to let you guys know that I was notified on yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday, that my youngest daughter will be walking in May. Um, she says she also has 4 more classes to take, but she'll be walking in May, hopefully with a double degree from the college where she lives. So I'm excited about that because I was able to go to my son's high school graduation. My other daughter went back to take her high school equivalency, but now for my youngest daughter, I'm going to be able to walk and see her finish what I started at Victor Valley Community College, but she's doing it at another college. And I think I made mention of the fact that my daughter, the youngest one, was just grabbing credentials and degrees or credentials, just stacking them up, put them in Felix's bag. And what Mrs. Munn says here pretty much says the same thing. Uh, Basically, valuing education and knowledge, and that's what gives us access a lot of times. And it also shows in her story with her husband being in the military how that also gave access, and how everyone doesn't take the same path. Sometimes in our community, we want to be we want us to be monolithic, and it's got to be all this one way or all that one way, and the two could never meet and merge, and you got to decide. But in Elder Munn's story, it's a matter her husband's in the military, and he's the one who brings her resume over to Germany, and that's how she gets those positions over there. And then um, she went the education route. And as I'm thinking about that, there's a story inside of Elder Munn's story where she talks about she had to go to school with her elder brother because her mom had to work in the field. And we're not talking slave fields, we're just talking working on the farm. Sometimes we get those things confused because I think because of our timelines that if we say we worked in the fields and and on the farms and this that we're back in slavery times, and that's not even the case. But she talked about how she had to go to school with her brother, and she ended up teaching. She ended up doing his homework, and he let her. Okay, and that by the time she was in school, she was already at a second grade level, and they allowed her to stay in the second grade. And that's another place where this touched me because that's the same thing that happened to me. My grandmother was a high school teacher. I'm sorry, a Head Start teacher, and I had to go to school with her. But by the time I got in school, they just started skipping me grades because I had already had some knowledge. So all of this touched me in a way, and I'm still sitting up here going, which one was Miss Elder Munn? Where was she at? I never met her when I went to the church. And also, one last thing, this is also the church where when you guys see me do the poem, Praise Beyond Words, and it spans the church afterwards where you see my family. This is the same church that I was in. Okay. That's the same stage Elder Munn is standing on. So what I just wanted to do, I wanted to come up here for a moment and give you guys a little precursor and direct y'all over to my video section. I haven't put it up yet, okay? But as soon as I end this, I'm going to upload that video, um, and hopefully my church won't have a problem with it if they get the notification. And if they do, I'll just send them a tithe for it. But I want y'all to take a look at Mrs. Munn's story, because she also says, being that we have had some of these conversations recently, she also said how she met Martin Luther King. Now, some of you may have been in the post the other day and in my live stream, where I make mention that there was something that Martin Luther King did to Diane Judith Nash. And then I came back and I showed y'all, or in that stream, I showed y'all what Wikipedia said about Judith Nash's own um, feelings and thoughts and a stance on MLK. Okay. And what I noticed about Elder Munn is that she, during this time, she said she met King, but during this time, she ends up going over to Germany to teach. And I think that that is the difference between those who stayed here and fell under the agenda. I know we like to have this affinity for Black History Month and the Civil Rights Movement, but when you start to look in there, there's some other things that were going on, especially the communism and thing that's attached to it, and the infiltration and all of this, that we who stayed in the mainland didn't have access to. And I think that's part of the reason why, when I'm looking at and listening to what Elder Munn is saying, it doesn't fall down to this, we got to overtake the government and our rights. And it's just about education. So again, I found this very apropos for the conversations that we're having now, or I'm having now, about education, about the universities, and even in this aspect, having discernment. And as one sister said, and that would be Master Fundi Fee in the chat, who says, in order to have discernment, you have to have intelligence. So I just wanted to bring this to your um, to the foreground, and hopefully y'all will take the 26 minutes that the video last to hear Elder Munn's story. And again, shout out to the Munn family out there from Alabama and the rest of us around this country doing what we're doing, because Elder Munn also mentions this Pendergrass guy who starts a school as well. And it made me think of Teddy Pendergrass, but we don't think about those names, right? So anyway, y'all check the video out. I'm going to give me a few minutes to go ahead and put it up there. It shouldn't take too long. It shouldn't take an hour and a half like that other one did. Um, and then y'all just go back and listen to that, because I really want you guys to hear Elder Munn's story and consider what we're looking at in the aspect of people saying, don't go to school, don't read a book, don't believe this, don't go to the military, you this, you that, we blackity black, 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 and all this other stuff. Just put Elder Munn's story in here as well. We have no problem putting Joseph Ben Yakin up here. We have no problem putting Henry Clark up here, Delbert Blair up here, um, and or any of these other people up here. And just like we put them up there because they have stories to tell, and just like other people put other elders from different places, and we start putting those in their narratives, Elder Munn's story can also be put into our narrative. So, family, that's all I wanted to do today, just to give you that precursor, okay? And I got to go to work. I'm actually 20 minutes, or should I say, they're 20 minutes from late from answering my question, which makes me 20 minutes late for getting the hell out of here. So, family, I got to go. I got to go to work. Uh, go check it out. Give me a few minutes to put it up, all right? And give y'all something to look at. Hope y'all having a great day. And keep your head on the swivel around this biatch. Peace out. Peace.